With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar. Zero patience for slow walkers. Those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night. Have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
9 años pidiendo el Snack Wrap. Aquí tienes tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú quieres un Snack Wrap? Toma tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú también? Toma un Snack Wrap. Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap. Volvió el Snack Wrap. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Got some good news for your ears. More of that good stuff is coming up. And even better news for your hair. The best hair care is at Sephora. They've got all kinds of products for every kind of hair. From brands like Amika, Kerastase, Day, and K18. You knew where to get great audio. Now, you know where to get great hair care too. Sephora, good news for great hair. Shop hair care now at Sephora.com.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
It's summer, time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and zero cooking. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite food delivered straight to you. Get Burger King, Subway, Popeyes, and hundreds more local favorites and savor every last bite. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
This episode is brought to you by Hyundai. Get into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event and get away with a deal so right, it almost feels wrong. Because right now, you can save big on their most popular models, including SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe and Santa Fe Hybrid, and the all-electric Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit HyundaiUSA.com. Offers end September 2nd, 2025.
Jif peanut butter. It's that Jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that Jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Everyone who works at Starbucks, full or part-time, gets stock in our company, simply for being part of our company. That's why we call our employees partners, because when Starbucks succeeds, our people do too. And that success turns into down payments, family vacations, and so much more. At Starbucks, benefits like company stock are just the start. Learn more about how we support partners at starbucks.com/partners.
Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts.
Mark Newman, welcome to the conversation today.
Thanks for having me.
It is a real pleasure to be with you. You're joining us from Orem, Utah, right where I'm at. You're just up the street from me. Even though we're joining each other remotely, we're like a mile away from each other. I'm here in Orem as well. And today we're going to be talking about empowering leaders through clear and immediate impact. this is just a fun topic. I think we'll have a lot of fun exploring this together and really doing it from the lens of your experience as an entrepreneur and an executive. As we get started, I wanted to share Mark's bio with everybody. Mark Newman is the founder and CEO of Nomi Health. In addition to Nomi, Mark is a prolific investor, advisor, board director, and founder of HR tech, healthcare, and AI-focused companies. Previously, Mark was founder and CEO of HireVue, acquired by the Carlyle Group in 2019, where he pioneered the development of video and artificial intelligence-based assessment and interviewing platforms. Mark was recognized as a member of the 30 Under 30 by Inc. magazine, as LinkedIn Next Wave leader, and a workforce game changer by Workforce magazine, and has spoken at universities and industry events nationally and internationally. Mark earned an MS in finance from the University of Utah and a BA in international business from Westminster College in Salt Lake City, Utah. Pleasure to be with you, Mark. Anything you'd like to add by way of your background before we dive on in?
Oh no, thanks for having me. Grew up in Canada and moved to Utah when I was a kid and been here ever since. So
wonderful. And we were talking in the pre-interview when we set all this stuff up, like we didn't even realize we were like so close to each other. And then we were talking more, and then we're like, wait a minute, like 20 years ago, you might have even taken a class from me at the University of Utah.
Right. I think I did. That was it was
such a small world, right?
My wife and I did find our masters of finance degrees together, and I'm fairly certain we took your class.
That's awesome. And hopefully I didn't scar you too much way back then.
Oh, I know. It's I've been fortunate, building HireVue and Nomi, and the similarity between.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
We knew it as that. It's all employer tech, right? Like it is. HireVue is how you build your teams, and Nomi is all around how you can support your people in their day-to-day life with their healthcare needs, right? And HR is my tribe. I love it.
Yeah. And it's mine as well. That's kind of where I found my home. And it's been a fun ride these last couple of decades. That sounds like for both of us, and it's great to reconnect. Okay, so we're going to be talking about empowering leaders, generally speaking, but through HR tech, through startup organizations, and all of those sorts of things. And I framed this episode, the topic around clear and immediate impact. I think we all want to be able to make an impact in our careers. We all want to do something that matters. Nobody wants to show up to work and just go through the grind and just, spin on the hamster wheel and go through the motions. I mean, that just sounds like soulless work. And we might go through a phase where we do that because you got to pay the bills and, you just got to put in your dues or whatever, but nobody likes to do that kind of work. And you hope that you can kind of move past that and move on into stuff that's more meaningful, more impactful. And yet, that sometimes is quite elusive. And I have to admit, I count myself as among the privileged set, that gets to do really cool stuff and stuff that I love and stuff that's meaningful and impactful. And I know that's not everyone gets that chance. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I guess what I'm reminded of is how important it is for leaders to strive to create that within their teams, just to design work in such a way that people can derive that kind of meaning and purpose, even when they're doing work that perhaps isn't the sexiest work, right? Because I do believe that any type of job can be meaningful, depending on how it's set up and structured and designed and the purpose that you imbue into it. So as we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your foundational kind of premise and thinking around some of these companies you've started and how you've thought about this impact piece.
Yeah, well, for sure. And thanks again for having me. I mean, not only are we in the same town, we've been able to live kind of aspects of the same life. I don't feel like I've had a job in my adult life because I've been able to just kind of do my work and practice my craft, right? When you do that, And I can go through your LinkedIn profile. Like, you love what you do, and so when you love what you do, and like the experiences and the challenges and the opportunities and like this, you take the good and the bad, you take the hard and the easy, you take the monotonous and the exciting, and you kind of do all of that. Because we like to think that career paths are, when you're in high school and college, right, and you're kind of getting into it, you feel like you have your career path, and it's like, here's this chart, right, and it goes here, and then you go up the ladder, and then you go up the ladder, and then you go this. That is total BS.
Yeah.
Here's the chart, and your career path kind of goes like this, you know what I mean? And like ups, downs, squiggles, you name it. Now, over time, you hope it's still going to go like this to this, right? But there's like this journey kind of through it all. And in general, when you get hired for that next job, you get hired because of like the peak, right? And like you don't remember like the challenge and the noise and the this and that. But it's like the challenge and the noise and the sounds that makes you who you are. Right. And kind of is the addiction of it. Right. So for me, maybe I'm just wildly unemployable. I've spent my 20s and 30s just building my own companies. I built HireVue for almost 15 years, where it was just an incredible experience of using, creating this idea of the on-demand asynchronous video job interview. That was a structured interview with a simulation to help people tell their stories, right? Because we believe that people weren't profiles, people weren't resumes, people weren't stories, they were ideas, experiences, passions. And if you kind of unlock that and got to know people at scale in a structured way, turns out you would give people from all sorts of different walks of life a shot they didn't have otherwise. And it turns out when you do that, your teams were like more diverse, more inclusive, stayed longer, performed better, and they would die for you, right? Kind of on there. And it started kind of on this idea. Like, I went to Westminster, where it is, in Salt Lake, and a bunch of us. Westminster had an incredible finance program, CFA program, you name it. And yet, in 2004, 2005, Westminster was not on the list of any major bank to come and hire from, right? Whether it was Goldman Sachs with their huge office here in Utah or whatever, right? And if somebody got their shot from Westminster, they would go crush it for Goldman. They would go, kind of go do that. And we had to figure out a way to do that, right? And we're replicating that over and over and over again. So it started with this idea of like, how do you give more of a shot? And how do you do that through video? And, almost 20 years later now, 10 million people a year get hired, do interviews, get hired through this entire process, if not more. And it's kind of magical that I got to be part of that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that was so fun, right? And I never thought there'd be more meaningful work in my life than helping people get jobs that they didn't think they could get otherwise. I never thought there'd be anything more meaningful. And then life happens in funny ways, right? We were at the birth of our first child. We have a 10, 7, and 4-year-old. And I'm in the hospital, and it's like the first kid being born is like the great equalizer. It doesn't matter what education, skills, experiences you have. You are as a first-time parent in that hospital, you have no idea what's going on, and you're just in survive mode. And this lovely person comes in, says, "Congratulations on your new baby." And I'm like, "Thank you. Who are you?" She's like, "I'm from finance. I'm here to talk to you about your bill before you leave." And I was just kind of like a first-time healthcare experience. I'm like, okay, my HR team gave me my benefit card, and I have my HSA funds. I go, "Great, what's it?" And she says, $4,500. And I go, "Okay." And I was in the spot where I could just pay it. And I said, "Okay, here you go." She's like, "What do you want me to do with this?" It's like, "Pay the bill." She goes, "Well, you could do a payment plan. You could do this, you could do that." I go, "What if I pay the whole thing?" She's like, "If you do that, I'll take 30% off right now." And all of a sudden I sat there and I was like, wait a second, like, I showed up with money and I got a lower price. I just went through like the most painful of painful experiences as a CEO, having my healthcare costs go up 10, 15%, trying to figure out the trade-off of benefit costs versus hiring people versus this versus that for our 400 people at HireVue. I just figure out how to do it for 30% less, right? And I got to go on this path. And it was fortunate. We did a whole lot of hiring for all the major insurance companies who told me to get the hell out of their office. They had no interest in solving this problem this way. And I was really upset. And I go, well, who would be upset about this? And who else can I go solve this problem for? Oh, wait, all I've been doing is hanging out with HR leaders for the last 15 years. I'm going to go talk to them. And, so I got to go back to the same school of experience, the same group, that same, passionate leaders that we knew, same mobilizers, same people that cared not only about who they brought into the organization, but how they kind of enable them there. And now we've been able to build Nomi for the last 6 years, where we completely transformed the healthcare experience for people that make less than $100,000 in America. We actually cut healthcare costs substantially. We make it a system that anyone can access and anyone can afford. And like we're now reopening economies because like the state of Michigan can be reopened for business because healthcare costs can be conquered. The school district can hire more teachers and pay them more because we're conquering their healthcare costs for them, right? And yeah, I've had the best, greatest, awesome journey for the last 20 years and couldn't never worked a day in my life.
Well, I mean that's awesome. I love the organic way in which the your latest endeavor came about. And I think that's often how these things happen. Sometimes we just end up partnering with someone and we end up going in a direction that we hadn't thought, or we're very strategic about something and we end up going in a new direction. But a lot of times it does happen organically and we get a spark of inspiration, or we have some life circumstance that takes us in a different direction. Or we just see this need, right? We see this need, we see an opportunity. You saw that, you ran with it, and
then you care about it. Like it's a problem you care about solving.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you touched on, like how does it work for leaders in your team and like the roles that they do and that role that they play in it. Everything that there are so many organizations that I could probably be a part of that I don't care about. Like I don't care about being a better CRM, or I'm not tuned to do, sends rockets into space, or, whatever it might be. Right. I have my thing, but like everyone can have their thing. Right. And when you get like your thing, your jam, like that part of it, why you're showing up every single day and why you're doing what you do. And it could be leaders on down to line, individual contributors and everyone in between. And it always goes back to the story of Kennedy when he was walking around the Space Center and he sees a janitor, kind of cleaning up.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes like, "What, sir, what do you do here?" And he's like, "I'm helping put man on the moon, Mr. President, and let's kind of go do that." Everyone plays a role in achieving what we're going to go achieve. And it's the hardest thing and it's the funnest thing around how to have that trickle down.
Yeah, and like you said, the cool thing is that everyone has their thing, right?
Right.
And thank goodness for that. Thank goodness we're not all the same, and thank goodness we don't all love the same stuff, and that we all don't resonate with the same things or draw our energy from the same things. That would be super boring, and two, we just wouldn't have the breadth of range, to cover everything that needs to be covered. Like I think back to, my early days, going through school, and I switched majors a bunch of times, and I landed in accounting, and I was an accounting major in a really great program. And I would have been successful. I would have had a great career. I was good at it. The problem was I didn't love it. And I would have had success, and I probably would have found some level of satisfaction in that career even. The problem was it didn't fully resonate with me, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life to switch out of that path, and switch my major one more time, and then to go the direction I did. It was scary. People thought I was crazy, because I left something very stable, secure, into something that was a little bit less so. But ultimately, it was just the best decision for me. And I think about it, I'm like, oh, I can't imagine like being an accountant. I can't imagine like living my whole life and doing that as a career. But I'm so glad that there are people who are trained accountants who like doing that work.
Oh, and they love it. Like it is their jam. Like it is like
they wake up in the morning and they're happy to do that. I'm so glad that there are people who love doing every last thing, right? Everything that there is to do, there are people that love doing that. And it is a matter of tapping into whatever that thing is and finding the right people to do that work. And I think back to the early days, when I've worked, if you count paper out, I've worked since I was 10 years old. But, my first like real non-paper out job, I think I was 15. And I had all of those different types of teenage jobs and college jobs. And I've had plenty of crappy jobs over the years. And some of them, though, as quote unquote crappy as they were, some of them were actually cool jobs. Because
they're all amazing life experience. They taught you like even learning what you don't want to do is just as important as learning what you do want to do.
Yeah. Well, and some of them I had good bosses, right? Who made it a learning experience, who made it interesting, who helped me recognize and understand why this is going to matter in my future, even if in the here and now it's not the greatest, right? Yeah. But I also had, some of those jobs where I had terrible bosses, where they made no effort to connect it to anything meaningful. And there's a dramatic difference between my experiences in both of those places, even though both of them probably weren't great jobs, but one was a decent or good experience and the other one was a crappy experience. And so a leader plays a huge role in this. And it starts with us. It starts with our attitude. It starts with how we frame this for our people. It starts with how we design and select our team, and the culture that we build. All of that matters so much in all of this. And if we can do that, and we can do it consistently, and in terms of that kind of meaning and purpose driven work, even if we're sweeping floors at NASA, so that we can feel like we're doing something really impactful, that putting someone on the moon, it's going to make all the difference, right?
Yeah, no, it's you teach a lot of students, right? And we did this assessment, we did this work at HireVue, where we were assessing draft picks into the NFL, to other sports leagues. And what was fascinating about it was that, you'd have these 22-year-old kids, 21, 22-year-old kids coming out of college, being drafted into the NFL. And, we did some interesting assessment work around what drove early career success, okay? And it turned out, asking the question, how old are you when you got your first job and why? Was one of the most critical indicators of early career success than anything, because whether it was that paper route where you got up every morning when it was freezing cold and you went and did it and you drag it through, whether it's the job that you hated that you kept because you had a why you did it, or that job that the thing that you learned. Like, I was a tray boy at Cafe Rio. I got to work when it was Steve and Trisha Stanley in a couple locations. Cafe Rio had lines an hour long, and everyone was angry. And I was like, what do you need me to do? He's like, oh, hustle. Like, I don't care what you do, you make sure everyone has an incredible experience. And it was like we just ran as fast as we could to try to go and do that. And and it was the best. And that was when I was 15, right? And then before the summer before starting HireVue, oh, you froze. Are you there?
Yep, sorry, I'm here.
And the summer before I started HireVue, I did animal shows at Hogle Zoo as a summer job. Like, that was the best. I'd never held an animal in my life, and now I'm like holding snakes and birds and bugs and whatever. And you saw people talk about it. And so, like, that early career path, like, whether you learned what you loved, whether you learned who you didn't want to be, whether you learned kind of on this part of it, it was just so important. And for me, it also created, I can kind of measure the health of my organization at any given moment of time based on how empowered I feel our like frontline people are to control our destiny.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's like, if something wrong is happening and I don't hear about it because people didn't know, like, information should go up, like, I feel like we're broken at that. Does that make sense? But when I hear about somebody that's truly on the front line with patients, with members, with customers, with candidates, with whatever it is, because there's always those people where they are like calling senior people to the carpet a thing, right? Or a problem that needs to be addressed or whatever. I actually feel like that's when you're at your most healthy, right? Kind of on this. And there, when I was building HireVue, there was this time where a guy named TJ, we used to live by two mantras at HireVue. One, get the interviews, and two, that an interview is a life-changing experience. We better do everything we can to make it incredible, right? Because, like, who are we to stand in the way of somebody having a bad job, right? Kind of on this part. And I'm walking down the office, down the hall of our office one day, and I hear TJ with his very distinct voice calling a whole team to the carpet, saying, this is a problem. I don't care what you say. This is a problem that affects candidates. And it was like some statistical anomaly of some small, tiny percentage of candidates that had some setup on their computer or whatever. And our CTO, Lauren, was like, we'll put it on the list of bugs. And that was an unacceptable answer to TJ. And he was like, all you guys say is that the interview is a life-changing experience. And for these 30 people out of every 10,000, it's a life-changing experience. And if we don't fix this for those 30 people, everything that you say is bullshit. And I was like, I sat there and I went in and I was like, sounds like TJ's right about something. What are we going to go do to kind of fix this? And it became lore, because that's how we roll. And then those people became our culture creators and archivers. And those, you kind of go down there. And it's the hardest thing as a leader. It's like, it's not only your exec team, because sometimes, like, especially as you grow quickly, you have executive leaders, and candidly, some, you have to suss out who are just kind of going from their thing to their thing to their thing, and I for hire letters and I hire comps, and who are showing up. Like at HireVue, it's incredibly important that everyone that joins has a healthcare story. Like, why do we do what we do every day? They have to have a healthcare story. And you have to manage that tightly on those senior leaders, and you have to make sure information is flowing. But as a CEO, as a founder, as an owner, as a whatever you want to call it, you have to figure out what your irrefutable truths are. And it's like everyone has to act like an owner. Everyone needs to be empowered. The people closest to the customer on a daily basis, you better be able to say anything to get the job, for us to get the job done internally, or something that's blocking it. And if you have those kind of irrefutable truths, and you kind of know those things, you can assess and manage and understand the health of how that's going at any given moment. And you know it when it's not working. And right now in Nomi, I'm kind of dealing with one of those phases, right? Like you get through launch, and then you kind of get to quiet. You know when it's quiet, not everything is going well. It's like you're not growing 60+%. You don't have 500 people. You don't have 4,000 customers, and it be quiet, and you're like, everything's perfect. No. And so right now I'm trying to go and figure that out. And it's not going to be engagement surveys. It's not going to be kind of a voice of this or whatever it is that kind of tells you. You got to get into it. And it's the hardest thing, but it's also the difference between an organization filled with people that just have jobs versus an organization filled with people who get to hone their craft and do their work regardless of what that might be. And when they get to go do that, everything about your business takes care of itself. Enterprise value gets created, revenue gets achieved, impact gets solved, passionate customers get earned, you know what I mean? Innovation gets created. All those things are outcomes as a result of getting that part right. And it takes the most amount of work and the hardest thing and the most subjective thing that you do, but you know it. And you know it when it's not working, and you know it when it is, and we fight for it every single day.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Mark, this has just been such a great conversation. I know at the time I need to let you run and get on with your busy day. But before we wrap things up for today, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, your team there at Nomi, and then give us the final word for today.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So Nomi Health, we're the operating system for self-insured employers to cut their healthcare costs 30 to 50%. And we do that with the same doctor and the same care. So people have a system that they can access at a price they can actually afford. And we feel like we're on the right side of the argument around tackling healthcare costs in America. I'm available anytime at mark@nomihealth.com, NOMI health.com, or find me on LinkedIn, and look forward to connecting with anybody and everybody, especially all of our old friends from our HR journeys along the way. Nothing about it is incredibly easy to build a crappy company. It is so easy. It is so easy to build a company that it's not even about ending up on the first page. It's about building a company that no one cares about. But it is really hard to build a great one that has impact and has people look back on and say, I'm glad I was part of that. And just know it's not easy. And that's why the difference is when you actually go pull that off, and raise your hand, ask for help, talk to other people, learn from it, good, bad, whatever it is as you go through it.
Wonderful. Mark, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out what Mark and his team can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe. You can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.